Welcome back to another episode of the Sasha Davis podcast. Today, you guys are in for a real treat because I'm going to share my experience with a platza treatment. Do you know what this is? Have you heard of this? You're going to find out. And you're going to hear it all from my perspective on start to finish. So going back to the event that I attended in Detroit, with that event, I chose to do the VIP session. I'm one of those people who, if I'm going to do something, like, I want the best of the best. Like, we're just going to go ahead and do the whole damn thing. I don't like to tippy-toe into things. If I'm doing it, I'm going all in. So they said, VIP day, you just want to do 1 day or 2 day. I'm like, sign me up for the 2 day, please. Give me a VIP and a spa day, which ended up being 2 spa days. Thank you. It was amazing. But anyway, so upon registering for this event, you also get to choose a spa treatment at the Schwitz. It is a local, I don't even know it's a historic spa. Like, it used to be like a men's club, and now it's just like a spa place, and they do all these kinds of treatments. And so naturally I had to choose the signature treatment, which was called the platza. And I have no idea what it is. I still don't entirely know what it is, but I will tell you what happened to me. So I picked this platza treatment and I just didn't even give it any other thought. I'm just like, all right, I'm going to do a platza treatment. It said something about being hot and being beat with leaves or something. So I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. I'm here for the experience. Let's just do it. So the day comes where we're going to do these platza treatments at the Schwitz. I really like saying that word, Schwitz. Schwitz. I should have bought a shirt that said Schwitz. So we get there, and it's like, I felt like I was in a 1920s horror film. Like, you're in downtown Detroit, just outside of downtown Detroit, and it looks sketchy outside this building. Like, we pull up, me and the woman that was with me, and I'm like driving by, and I'm like, this cannot be the place. Like, is this for real? So like, we turned around, sure as shit, it was. So then we turned around again, and then we parked. And there's like chain link fences, and there's like nothing around it. So I had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. But we walk in, and it's like dark and dingy, but it's like super cool. Like if you think of like a 1920s or 1930s like horror movie where there's like, I don't know, red velvet and like fancy furniture and like, I can't think of the word right now, like taxidermy, like the fake animals. I should know this, but I don't. So there's like those, and there's like really no windows in there, and they have like the black and white checkered floors, and they have like a locker room, and then they have like a basement, except for it's like that old subway tile from like the 1930s, and then they have like this giant groundwater pool in there, and then they have a dry sauna, and then they have a steam room, and then upstairs they have like 2 tables where they do like massages and facials and things like that, and then there's like a dining area, and then there's the locker room. Anyways, you walk in, and it's like down this hallway, everybody gets dressed. I had to do my thing. I had to pump because I breastfeed, so I pumped, and everybody like came into the room. I just had like my tits hanging out, just pumping, and everybody's like, oh yeah, you're pumping. I'm like, oh yeah, I am. Sit down, let's have a conversation. It was totally normal. I don't know, it was really cool. Side note, I know a lot of people get grief for breastfeeding in public and things like that. I will for one say that nobody to this day has said anything to me about putting my boobs away or pumping or breastfeeding or anything like that. I don't know if I just have like a really good resting bitch face, or if I like give people the stare down. I'm not entirely sure, but I've been fortunate, knock on wood, that nobody has given me shit about it, men or women. So I'm sitting there and pumping, and everybody's getting ready. And I think I was the last one. Yeah, I was the last one to get the platza treatment. So we go down there, and we're sitting in the rooms or whatever, and they start doing the platza treatment. And the one lady was like, well, there's 2 women in there, and they do the treatment entirely nude. I'm like, sweet. what did I get myself into? And not that I have anything against nudity. I was just like, okay, well, that was unexpected, but I suppose whatever, here we go. So we go down there, and have you ever been in a steam room? Like, it is on fire, freaking hot. And this wasn't even that bad. I went in a steam room the night before that like took your breath away, and they had a steam shower ball in there that was like eucalyptus scent. Oh my God, you like walk in there, just like burn your eyes. You're just like, oh my God, I can't do it. So it was so funny. Anyway, so this one was much better than the previous night. You could actually like tolerate it. It felt so good because for some reason I was just like freezing the whole weekend. So we're seeing these people, and they're on the top shelf of the steam room. So again, if you've been in steam room, sometimes they'll have like shelves, like layers, and each shelf up where you sit is supposed to be 10 degrees more, I guess. That's what they told us. So like the top shelf would be, 20 degrees warmer than what like the bottom one would be. So I just kind of like hung it on the floor, and they had like a cold shower in there, and there was 2 women that were doing the platza treatments. And so we're kind of watching, and you go and you lay up on the top shelf, and you lay on like an ice cold towel, and then they end up wrapping like an ice cold towel around your face. You have to take off your top. Well, I guess you don't have to, but they recommend taking off your top. I'm not even sure why. I don't even know why I wore a top to begin with. Like, once I took my top off, I was like, why didn't I just let these titties hang out the whole time? I don't know. It's so stupid. So if I ever go back, I'm just going to be like, psh, full nude, guys. Like, you're just going to have to deal with it. Anyways. So we're seeing this treatment get done, and one of the gals that's a friend of mine, she was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? I usually wear like even a wrap around my swimsuit. Like, I don't want anybody to see me. And like, everybody can see you. Like, everybody can see you. Like, it's just out in the open. There is absolutely zero privacy when you're doing these treatments. Like, there's just 2 naked women performing these platza treatments on 2 half-naked women on the top shelf of a shower room. So get that visual. And then they have these big giant bundles of like oak leaves and essential oils, and literally they're like beating you with oak leaves, like these bundles of oak leaves, and like dangling. And then there's like hot water and cold water and hot water and cold water, and like, I mean, hot water, like so hot that it almost like hurts to touch hot water, and then like freezing cold ice water. It was one extreme to the next. And everybody is just like having these experiences. So there was a couple of women that had one of the first sessions, and they get done. So what you do in a nutshell, and I'll tell you kind of what my experience was, but in a nutshell, you go up on the top shelf, they give you kind of like a massage, oak leaf beat down, throw some essential oils on you, and they do that for like 20 minutes. And then they go and you jump in a freezing cold groundwater pool. What do I mean by groundwater pool? I mean that the pool temperature is the same temperature as groundwater. And if you have been in Detroit in February, or anywhere in the Midwest in February, I would equate it to jumping in a lake or jumping in a river. It was so cold. I jumped in it before even my treatment, just because I wanted to get an idea of like how cold it was. I think I jumped in like 3 different times, but as soon as you jump in, it like takes your breath away. So anyways, these 2 women had like some crazy experience happen to them, and they say that it's supposed to release like toxins in your body, release emotional toxins, any blocks that you may be having, and just really have like a spiritual experience. And I would 1000% say that these 2 did have a spiritual experience. So now I'm like freaking the F out because I don't know what the hell I'm getting myself into, and everybody's like hyping it up. And I mean, I've done some pretty crazy shit, so I really wasn't like too worried. My biggest concern was, am I going to have a big enough reaction to this? And I will explain that in a second. But like, everybody's all, so they get done. These 2 women, they do their treatment, they jump in the water, and they're supposed to like stay in there for a few minutes and try to breathe through the pain, essentially. And your body just goes whack. And so they said that they had like tunnel vision, and they felt like they were on acid, and they thought that like things were shooting out of their fingers, and they were seeing things. And then the one woman was like throwing up and couldn't stand. Oh, it was crazy. So I'm like, oh shit, like, I hope I don't have an experience like that. But at the same time, like, I kind of want like a psychedelic experience. Is that weird? I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. So I'm clearly overthinking how my reaction's going to be. And everybody was kind of saying, oh, I can't wait till you go. Oh, I can't wait till you go. And the more people that put pressure on me, the more I just started to like shut down. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever been there where like people put expectations on you to the point where you're just like, nope, I'm just gonna shut it down. And you like shut off the whole emotional system, nervous system. And you're just like, lock it up. I'm tough as nails. And I think I even jokingly said that. And I'm like, haha, you won't break me. I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Probably 90% of the people did not know what I was talking about, but that's okay. And I did. I just started to like shut down and I couldn't control it. Like I kept trying to like be open, Sasha, be open to the experience. But the more people said, oh, I can't wait for you to go. Oh, I can't wait for you to go. I was like, nope. I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to have an emotional, I'm not going to have a spiritual experience. Nope. Because I was scared that I was going to like disappoint myself and disappoint other people. So why not just fail by not even trying? And so that's kind of what happened. So if I ever go back, I am going to do it again, but I got in my own head about it. So anyways, these two women had such like a crazy experience that it kind of set up everybody else to have, this crazy experience. And they did. It felt like everybody that did it had like this eye-opening, super spiritual awakening. And then there was me. And I'm like freaking out at this point. I'm like, I was going to do it regardless. But I was to the point where I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy it and try to like be in the moment and breathe through it. Because they said, it's hot as balls and then it's freezing cold. So they called my name and I think I went at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. I was the last person to go. And you go back in the steam room. And so it was actually really nice to go last because there was nobody else in there except for the other girl getting treatment. Before everybody else was doing their treatments, everybody else was in there. So it was really noisy and they said it was hard to concentrate and things like that. So I was very much in a meditative state for that first half of the platza treatment. So you go up, I take my top off, and I'm just in my swimsuit bottoms. And it is so hot, you guys. I cannot even, it's like 120 degrees and it's just like straight humidity. So I get to the top and I lay down on this freezing cold towel, but it also feels good. Like it's like a good feeling pain. It's such a weird feeling. And so you lay face down first, and holy smokes, it was so weird to have like my back on fire and my front freezing cold. And so then they have like these oils and these buckets, and there's two women who are, like I said, totally nude, and they're like feminists. Like they are so proud of their bodies and they were so confident. They just gave zero fucks. It was actually kind of cool to see, to the point where like they didn't even shave. So they just had like these big old hairy pits and these big old hairy bushes, and they just were totally nude, didn't give any fucks. It was pretty cool to see. I don't know if I could have a big old bush or if I could have big old hairy armpits. I'm not a fan of hair, so maybe someday, but more power to them. I just don't know if I'm quite there yet. So these women are doing these treatments on us, and they have you laying face down. And so they'll put the oak leaves either in hot water or cold water and literally like beat them on you like they do. They just like smack your face and smack your back and smack your legs and smack your boobs, and then they like trickle them over you, and then they smack again, and then they like kind of like do like that light tickle kind of, and then they smack you again, and they do this off and on for like 10 or 15 minutes, alternating hot, cold, and like essential oils. It was actually kind of a cool feeling. I know it sounds really weird, but it did feel really cool. And then my favorite part, they did a body brush. So they have this dry brush that they also dipped in hot water, and then they put essential oils on it. I'm not sure which one. It was like lavender and something else. And they like scrubbed your whole body. Oh, lavender and peppermint and maybe something else, because it was like an invigorating but calming. So they scrubbed like your whole body with this dry brush, and it felt so good. Like if I could be in a steam room and have people dry brush me every day, I would probably have no skin left for one, but it would feel so amazing. Like I love being massaged. For somebody who really doesn't like giving hugs or being touched, like I love massages and I love dry brushing. So if you want to rub my shoulders, just do it. Just say, hey, I want to rub your shoulders, and I will say, yes, please. So they do that portion of the treatment, and they like have you sit up all quietly, slowly, softly, put your feet on the floor, and then you have to put your head on their chest so that they can hose you off on the back so that you can kind of get cooled off before they go transition you into the freezing cold pool. So then they grab you by your hand, and mind you, I'm topless. Everybody's topless. You're walking out into the area where everybody else is. And we were the only people there. Like, it was a closed party, so there was only people that we knew there. It wasn't like a big open public thing. So they walk you out there, and they're holding your hand, and then you go and you sit on the other side or you sit on the side of the pool, and then they say, on the count of 3, we're going to jump in. And so 1, 2, 3, boom, you jump in, and immediately your breath is taken away by the cold water, and they want you to lay on your back and try to regulate your breathing. Now, I didn't have to stay in there as long as some of the other people. I'm not entirely sure why that was. I only had to do like 5 or 6 breaths, but maybe it's because I had my breathing under control right away. Or maybe she just, I don't know, maybe she didn't like me and she's like, get this bitch out of here. I'm not really sure. But I did have a pretty solid control over my breathing, which I felt really good about, because there was a lot of people who like could not breathe when they hit the water. They were like, and right away I was just like, I don't know, I had it together. So you get out, and it's almost like, I don't know, I had tunnel vision, and I felt like warm, but I also felt like cold and tingly, and like the emotion that came up, like I felt sad. It was so weird, because everybody had like an emotion when they were done. They're like, oh, I feel relieved, or I feel joy, or I feel this, or I feel that. And I felt really, really sad. Like I wanted to cry, but I couldn't figure out why. And I don't know if it's because I didn't have as big of a reaction as everybody else, or I don't know if I had like some family shit coming up, because we all have family shit, guys. You know me by now, I'm not perfect. I still have family shit. There's some of my family, my immediate family, that still doesn't talk to me to this day because I don't know why. It's not my fucking business, right? What other people think of what I'm doing is none of my business. I just got to keep on trucking along and stay in my lane. But there are still, family problems. And so there's just a lot of things that I'm going through right now. I'm transitioning. I'm always learning and growing and pushing through, breaking through glass ceilings. So I don't know what the sadness was, but there was lots of sadness. And I kept trying to shake that when I was done. And it took me a couple days to kind of shake off that sadness. But it was quite the experience. And if I ever go back to the Schwitz in Detroit, you bet you can find me doing another platza treatment. I've never had anything done like that before. And I think that's another part of living, is trying things you've never done before. And that's how you can branch outside of your comfort zone and increase your confidence, is because you can do things that you don't really think that you could do, or that you wouldn't normally try. And so it's just really cool to see and experience some of these things. I think they said it was like an old Russian style of treatment to, again, release physical and emotional toxins from the body. And I think platza, they said, translates as back. So just back is in like your back of your body. Pretty cool stuff, though. So if you've ever had a platza treatment or know anything about platza treatments, please send me a message on Instagram. Share your story with me. I would love, love, love to hear your feedback. Or if you know anything else about platza treatments that maybe I misunderstood or didn't pronounce or say correctly, just holler at me. I love to learn more about these things and see what other people experience. Or, send me a message over at support@sashadavis.com. You can just send me an email or Instagram, whatever is easier for you. So that's my platza treatment in a nutshell. I'm always trying new things. I'm that person that if you go to a restaurant, I'm like, what's on special? What's your signature dish? Like, what do people come here for? What are you known for? Those are the types of things that I do. And I find that there's kind of an adventure within that. And it gives me the opportunity to share these experiences and these stories with you guys, because then you might not be so freaked out to try it. If you ever go to the Schwitz in Detroit, you'd be like, oh, Sasha said to do the platza at the Schwitz because it was weird as fuck. And you can tell them that I sent you there. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Remember, share your stories, reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, screenshot, share with a friend, tag me on social, Sasha.Davis. Until next time, guys, catch you later.